What is the biggest limitation of any model train layout, regardless of size? Well, in my opinion, the biggest limitation is the layout itself. I've got my layout here, and I have other friends that have their own layouts, but unless I physically pack up my trains and drive them over to their house, I can't run my trains on their layout, and they can't run theirs on mine. My trains are sort of prisoners on my layout, and that's just the way it is. And I've been thinking about this for years, and I thought, wouldn't it be really cool if there was a way for my trains to be able to run on somebody else's layout and vice versa seamlessly without the trains ever having to leave the track? Well, of course, the only way you could really connect two layouts together is with a tunnel, a really long tunnel, and that's exactly what this video is about today on Eric's Trains. Alright, so I decided I wanted to build a tunnel between my layout and somebody else's layout. So I thought, well, whose layout should I connect my layout to? And I thought, well, it might be a good idea to connect it to another well-known YouTube O-scaler. And so I called up Chris from RBP Trains, and I floated the idea to him, and he liked it, and so we decided to set about building a tunnel between my layout and his. Now, Chris lives in the Baltimore area and I live in the Atlanta area, so that means the tunnel along the route we wanted to take was going to be almost 700 miles long. And so if completed, to my knowledge, that would be the longest train tunnel in the world. So we got to work building the tunnel. We rented two miniature TBM machines, those tunnel boring machines that they use to dig subway tunnels and stuff like that. So we started one at my end and one at Chris's end, and they met in the middle. Now, the TBM machines dig the tunnel, but they leave a lot of rubble behind them, and obviously I can't fit into a little train tunnel for O-scale trains, neither can Chris, and so we decided to use our pets to help us clear out the rubble and lay the track. So on my end, my cats, Chessie and Frisco, got busy clearing rubble and laying track, and on Chris's end, his cat Sawyer got busy doing the same thing. It took about 2 years of constant work, but we finally got the tunnel finished. It's all lined, the track is laid and powered, and now it's ready to use. Now, with a 700-mile tunnel, you think, well, how are you going to power the track? So what we did is we did power feeders every now and then, and we used 400 Lionel Powerhouse 180s, and we spaced them at even intervals along the tunnel, and then we would run the power cord up a shaft up to the surface, and then we would plug it up to power. Now, where would we get power along the way? Well, we kind of cheated a little bit there. We would sneak into neighborhoods and just plug it, into the backyard power outlet on somebody's deck or, under their deck or whatever. And that's how we got the power. And then to make sure they wouldn't unplug it, we just put a label on it that said, hey, this is property of the power company or something. And that way they'd leave it alone and it would power our track. So with 400 of those Powerhouse 180s in operation, we now have about 18 volts consistently for the entire length of the tunnel, and it is ready to go. So what we're going to do today is run the first test train through that tunnel from my layout over to Chris's, and then from Chris back to me. Okay, so the locomotive we're going to use for the maiden voyage is the Lionel Vision Line 49er Challenger, because I figure if any locomotive can make a 700-mile journey through a tunnel, it's the Challenger. Now, because this is the maiden voyage, I'm not going to put any cars behind the locomotive right now, because this is the first time through the tunnel. I don't know what's going to happen, and if something should derail or something to that effect, it's going to be a big enough pain just getting the locomotive back on the track, let alone a bunch of cars. I can't fit in the tunnel, obviously, so I'm going to have to send Chessie or Frisco in there, and I want to keep their job as simple as possible, so we're just going to do the locomotive for now. So what I've done is I've written a note for Chris. Let me unfold it here. So you can see it says, hey Chris, I hope this works. Let me know if you get this by replying on this paper and sending it back through. Good luck, Eric. So I'm going to fold this up and stick it into the cab. That's really the only place I can think to stick it. And hopefully it'll stay in there for its 700-mile journey through this tunnel. Wow, look at all these smoke effects. This thing looks awesome. Anyway, the tunnel to Maryland starts back in this tunnel. Obviously, my layout is already built, so I had to add the tunnel to an existing tunnel. So it'll go back there, and then there's a switch that'll take it into the tunnel to Maryland. Okay, so Chris is ready at the other end. Let's go ahead and send it through the tunnel. So long and Godspeed.
I don't think this train is coming, Mini-Me. It's just going to be you and me. Wait. $700 miles, 2 years to construct, and 100% funded by Eric himself. 49er Challenger. What an incredible project. And I was really happy to be part of this. I can't believe it actually worked. We're going to need to look inside this engine and see if there's a letter waiting for us, because Eric said he was going to write me a note that I needed to fill out and send back. First, let me shut it down. Let's check it out. Message in a train. Hey Chris, I hope this works. Let me know if you get this by replying on this paper and sending it back through. Gonna need to run your train faster next time so I don't have to wait so long. My chicken scratch note is ready to go. We're going to fold this back up and put it back in the cab of this 49er Challenger, also known as the hot dog. Great choice, Eric. Really happy you picked this one. We'll add a little smoke fluid and send it back through the tunnel. But first I got to turn it around. Time to pack up our note. You got a long journey ahead, my friend. But if anyone can do it, it's this engine. Godspeed. Little toot toot for the ride. Goodbye, my friend.
Okay, 2022, $2,000 in medical bills, $12,000 on the mortgage, $25,000 on my son's education, $517,000 on trains. Hey, honey, are trains deductible? I mean, can I claim a train as a dependent?
No, honey, I think they closed that loophole a few years ago.
Well, can I deduct a really big train tunnel at least? I mean, it's sort of a business expense, isn't it?
I think Form 3211 covers that. Let me check.
What's that? Shh. You hear something? Holy smokes. Wow, I can't believe it made it. 700 miles there and back, a 1,400 mile round trip. No issues. Wow, it's warm. So it's definitely been working hard, but it made it. I mean, of course it made it. It's the Challenger. So let's go ahead and shut it down.
Union Pacific 3949 to the tower. We're going to Beans. Out.
All right, and pull the tender off to give me better access. There's the note. Let's see what Chris wrote. Yeah, look at that. Eric, the project was a success. Can't believe that no one unplugged our power supplies. Yeah, we got lucky there. Gonna need to run your trains faster next time so we don't have to wait as long. Yeah. Kidding, maybe, Chris RBP. So yeah, there you have it. There's the proof. The tunnel works. It's time to break out the champagne because right now this is the longest functional train tunnel in the world, and I'm willing to bet it's the longest train tunnel ever in the world. Wow, I'm just speechless. I can't believe it worked. This is so incredible, and it's going to be even more fun when we run a whole train through the tunnel. All right, so there you have it, the longest train tunnel in the world, and it seems to be working perfectly. I think at some point we might add a third layout to the setup, and that way we can run our trains between 3 different layouts. But for now, you know, we've worked really hard on this tunnel. It took a couple years to complete, and I think for the time being, we're just going to enjoy what we have. Anyway, that does it for now. I'm Eric Siegel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.